Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And if this is your first time on the channel, if you could please do us a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so you know when we're posting new videos, and leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the video, what you think about this whiskey, and we'll get the conversation started here at the Whiskey Explorer. And tonight it is St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patty's to everyone. So I thought I'd jump in and do a quick review of an Irish whiskey for you guys. And tonight we are reviewing Bushmills Black Bush. All right, so Bushmills Black Bush. So this budget-friendly whiskey right here is actually very similar to the regular Bushmills. So in Irish tradition, it is a triple distilled Irish whiskey, and it is probably pot still just because they've got the pot still embossing on the back there, as well as a pot still on the front label there as well. And actually pot still is a very traditional distillation method for Irish whiskey, but what's unique about it is that it's not just double distilled, it's triple distilled before being put in the barrel to age. So this Black Bush is different from the original Bushmills in that the original Bushmills is aged in ex-bourbon barrels, and this is actually aged in ex-sherry barrels. So it's, in terms of flavor profile, it's a bit of a sweeter, richer, textured type of a whiskey, I would say. So let's get in without further ado to the whiskey. Just talking about specs on this, it is at 40% ABV or 80 proof. So that's a bit of a knock against it. And I have noticed that, of course, there's lots of whiskeys that are bottled at 40%, but especially Irish whiskey seems to be really kind of favors that 40%, whereas I'd love to see it in the 43 or 46 or even higher than that. But that's what we're at with this one, 40% alcohol by volume. All right, and the price point on this, the Black Bush in my area region is about $38 to $40 Canadian. So again, very affordable for an Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey is one that I don't tend to explore too much, but I would like to get into more. I do have a Redbreast cask strength 12-year-old on the way. It hasn't arrived yet, so I haven't shot a review of that yet. But yeah, what I find with Irish whiskey is that it's a little bit simplistic in the flavor profile, pretty straightforward, but the nice thing about that on the flip side is that it's very drinkable, very crushable, as they say. All right, let's get into the whiskey. All right, so looking at the color in the glass here, I actually did a bottle kill on this one as well, so I put this one out of its misery. It was kicking around my cabinet for too long, so it's a good one to shoot for St. Patrick's Day and do a little shout out to the Irish whiskey world and finish this bottle off. So color in the glass, looking at that, it's sort of a very light amber color, but as opposed to the original Bushmills is much lighter, much more pale in color, almost like a straw, because it's finished in the ex-bourbon barrels. This is definitely picking up a little bit of the sherry you can see in there. Sherry barrels is what's used for aging the whiskey, so you definitely have a little bit of a darker color. Let's go in for a nose. Cheers. So first thing you pick up right away is that sherry note. It's super dominant. What I get is glosette raisins. So I don't know if you guys get down on the glossettes, but like if you're at the movie theater or wherever, you know, glossette peanuts, glossette raisins, this is a glossette raisin on the nose. Chocolate, raisin, dates, maybe a fig note in there. Maybe like a faint kind of hint of like cherry, but like the cherries that's in like grandma's pantry. So it's, you know, those jarred cherries that are kind of sat on the shelf there for years to preserve. So it's kind of stewed down. So some stewed fruits in there. Really a lot of sherry influence. Lots of milk chocolate on there as well. It's a really pleasant and inviting nose. There's a little bit of nuttiness from the sherry influence in there as well. Oh, and one little side note, little piece of trivia. It says here on the bottle that I noticed before shooting the review that this is the oldest distillery in Ireland. So that's kind of a cool kind of point there for the Bushmills. All right. let's go in for a taste. Cheers. All right, so this is pretty much how I remember it. It's fairly straightforward. A little bit thin on the palate. Of course, you'd expect that for 40%. But what you get right away is a butter biscuit note, which is very typical of Irish whiskey. So kind of like shortbread. And then you get a little bit of like confectionery sugar. So not brown sugar or anything like that, but actual like confectionery sugar, icing sugar. And then you get the sherry influence. So then you get the chocolate, the raisin, the dates, maybe a little bit of a dark stewed fruit note. But overall, the dominant note that comes across mid-palate and for the finish is the sherry cask influence of the Bushmill Black Bush. And this was, previous to being killed tonight, was my camping bottle. So the reason that I had it for camp, like it was like kind of the perfect camping companion, is that it's so easy drinking and that you could offer it to any friend and, family member or whatever it is, and they're going to enjoy it. It's not offensive in any way. The downside that I would say to that is that there really isn't too much complexity here. It's fairly straightforward. It's one note. It's basically the typical Irish notes: the shortbread cookie, the vanilla, the biscuit, and then mixed in is the sherry influence, so chocolate, a little bit of raisin, maybe some dates, stewed dark fruits, and that's pretty much it. So go in for one more sip here, guys. Cheers. Happy St. Paddy's, everyone. Yep, so I would say that's quintessential sherry cask aged Irish whiskey. Right up front, all the vanilla sweetness, almost like like a typical Jameson or other type of Irish whiskey. Fairly straightforward. The biscuit flavor, the kind of shortbread cookie, then vanilla, icing sugar, sweetness, and mid palate is the sherry influence. So you get the chocolate, a little bit of cherry maybe. Again, the raisins, dates, dark stewed fruit, and very, very short finish, and thin, of course, on the mouthfeel. Being at 40%, wouldn't expect too much more. But if you are looking for an easy drinking Irish whiskey, I think look no further than Bushmills Black Bush. So thanks so much for joining me for another review, guys. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drams be fuller. Cheers.